Today we're going to be talking about our 2018 Reininger Bordeaux blend. So here's the beast right there, and I hope some of you have it in front of you there. And it's fun. This is something I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. It's kind of like a upscale of our old, kind of going back to our old red table wine, Reininger red table wine, but this is done with actually making Bordeaux blend with purpose, if you will. And so it's a second vintage that we've done this. The differences between the 17 and the 18, the 17 was a little more tightly wound. And so all of the 17 Bordeaux's have taken a while to open up. And I think you'll find with the 2018 vintage anyway, that all of the Bordeaux varietals, they're much more open the same time of year as compared to the 17s. In fact, some of the 17s I think are still even a little tighter than some of the 18s are right now. So, it's been a fun project to put together, and I think it's kind of fills a hole that we've had in our lineup anyway. And I've been specializing a lot on just varietals, so especially when it comes to Bordeaux. So it's really nice to have this Bordeaux blend. See if I can remember. I have to use some cheat notes here to remember exactly the percentages that's in here. So this guy is 47% Merlot, 28% Cabernet Sauvignon, 14% Cab Franc, 7% Petit Verdot, and 4% Malbec. The vineyards, 45% of the fruit came from Seven Hills Vineyard, 34% from Pepper Bridge, and 21% from our long lost XL Vineyard. XL Vineyard is no longer in our portfolio. Some of you have probably heard, but sadly, they have decided not to operate any longer. And so, which is sad because we were getting some excellent fruit from XL Vineyard. There's a couple from Vancouver, BC that owned it. And anyway, it was just taking a little too much, I should say, out of them. So so anyway, sadly, they have closed the vineyard. But as far as the oak on here, it's 53% French oak and 47% American oak, and about 20% new oak. So we went easy on the oak, and so it's again, trying to show a little bit more of the fruit going on in this. So,
Chuck, can you talk a little bit about what makes a blend a Bordeaux blend specifically?
That's a really specific thing. That's a really good question. Oh man, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually standing on my knees at the moment. A Bordeaux blend is simply a blend of wines made from Bordeaux grapes. So all of those grapes that we mentioned have originated in Bordeaux and are typically grown there. So the Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec, those are 5 of the 6 noble Bordeaux red varietals. Yeah, so that creates a Bordeaux blend.
And then what is the difference between a left and a right bank Bordeaux?
Well, the left bank is where you'll find more blend of Cabernet and Merlot. It's where you find the Medoc in the Haut-Medoc region. And on the right bank, you'll find more Merlot and Cabernet Franc over there on the right bank. And so that's the big difference. So if you're flowing down the river towards the Atlantic, that's what you think. Right bank is to the north, and left bank is to the south. And so,
Okay. And while I go grab you a chair, can you talk about how this wine is made in comparison to some of our others, like the CPR? Is this made in a similar sourdough starter way or not?
no, not at all. There we go. Thank you. So no, as far as the production of this, we go at it. It's actually some of the same wines that you'll find, say, in our Reininger Cabernet Sauvignon and our Reininger Merlot. And so it's the same grapes anyway. And so we taken some of that wine and set it aside for the Bordeaux blend itself. These were all, as far as how we handled it, it was all 100% hand harvested. And we fermented it in 1.5 ton open top fermenters and with lots and lots of punch downs on it. But the big magic for this particular wine is really more in the blending of it. And last year's was a little more Cabernet heavy, where that was almost 50% Cabernet Sauvignon. This year, the BDX is actually a little more Merlot heavy. It's trying to make it a little bit softer anyway, and hoping that it wouldn't be so tightly wound up. But I think that was more, like I said earlier, more of a vintage thing, really, more than anything else. So there. All right. Well, on the nose, do you have any more questions?
No.
Oh,
I just wanted to scooch
you
over a
want
little.
to get in here a little
so
bit?
I can get closer to the mouse.
All right. Do you actually mind if I open the door?
Yeah, no.
Thanks. That open. Good deal. All right. So anyway, on the nose, it's really fun. I get a little bit of really nice floral perfume, a little bit of potpourri happening in there in the nose, but some real nice, both bright and dark cherry happening in there. Quite a bit of plum too. Nice ripe plum and a little bit of currant going on. Tiny bit of herbal notes, but some really nice underlying wood spice, soft wood spice going on in there. So again, that's just using that oak judiciously and allowing the fruit itself to shine and show itself. And so I could play actually with this nose. I could just sit there and admire this nose for a while. It's got some really pretty aspects to it.
Now, I know many of you are drinking the BDX tonight. What are you guys smelling out of the wine? As you know, I normally type in the group chat and try to encourage some questions. But since we're talking on the one computer, I don't want you guys to hear me clicking away on the keyboard. So I just might ask you questions directly.
That's awfully nice of you.
But we'd love to see what people are smelling. There's no wrong answers. So even though Chuck is picking up on those things, I might not, or you might not. So feel free to tell us whatever you smell.
Exactly. What you smell is right for you. There's no question about it. So, man, I don't know. I'm not familiar with your. Got something going there. But anyway, so I'm going to go on and taste this guy. By the way, what hits me about this wine, I really like the it's got a soft tannin structure, but there's a little bit of grip to it with the tannins. And over the years, I've really learned to admire and like tannin structure in wine. And to me, this has a real nice soft. The tannins are almost round, but there's just a real nice soft grip that it
Yeah,
has.
it just like it hugs your cheeks just a little.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but the acidity in it is really well balanced. In that acidity, I think helps bring to the forefront a little bit of bright cherry, but I'm getting both bright cherry in here and some nice berry character, red berry character, and dark cherry. And there's just true to Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon character. I'm just getting just a hint of herbalness to it, and so, and I get just a hint of in the finish a little bit of dark wood toast on it too. So it's just a real hint, not a lot. So all that coming from the barrel, but again, I'm getting kind of similar to the nose. I'm getting, it's actually it's nice where the palate actually reflects the nose, I think, almost step for step. It's funny. Wine is fun sometimes. Sometimes the nose will be completely different than what the palate offers up, and vice versa. But with this wine, I think the palate, you taste almost exactly step for step what I get in the nose anyway. So, but yeah, it's a fun, great wine. And so, like I say, this was just kind of filling in a hole in our wine selections here at the winery, and something I'd been wanting to do for a long time. And we've made this available. It's actually a distributor of wine for us, and but we also have it available here at the tasting room. So I'm looking forward to all the components that we have this year for the 2018 too. I think it's going to make a pretty spectacular BDX this coming year. And I think as we're putting this blend, playing with it more and more every year, I think we kind of find more what we want to do different to it. How can we improve the blend? And so yeah, it's fun.
Are there some things that are already standing out to you for that 2019 blend that you're thinking about changing it for the next edition?
For this guy, yeah, I think I'm going to go back and probably throw a little bit more Cabernet Sauvignon in it. And perhaps I might even bump up the Malbec a little too. So,
okay.
So we'll see.
A little deeper color, deeper dark fruits, and
yeah, but it's more kind of I kind of like, there's like a little blackberry aspect of Malbec that I really kind of like, that I think would be fun if we step up the Cabernet again on it. And so, but I think because of the wonderful acidity that we have this year, 2020, that's going to help lift the fruit a little bit and makes for a little more even focused fruit wise anyway. Make the whole blend a little more fruit focused, but we'll see. Okay. We'll see this.
And you mentioned Malbec, so might it have some of the new the Rocks Malbec that we're getting this year?
Yeah, we're working with a new vineyard this year called Stone Valley. Actually, we picked up a little bit last year. There's been such a demand for our Malbec, and I've been searching high and low for another Malbec to complement our Pepper Bridge Malbec. And we think we found it in the Stone Valley. It's in the Rocks District, not far from Seven Hills, at the kind of the base of Seven Hills, but a little tiny bit east, more towards Milton Freewater. So it's in a great location with good protection for the Rocks District as far as temperature. So the further east, with a little higher elevation in the Rocks District anyway, a little warmer temperatures, better winter protection there, and also, which means better early season frost protection, spring frost protection, or early fall frost protection. So, no, I'm really excited about that fruit. I think it's, like I say, I just think it's going to really rock, and no pun intended there. I think it's going to be, well, I really love what we got last year out of there. It's absolutely fantastic. And
Might need to go dig around the barrel room to find some then.
yeah, well, you haven't tasted it yet?
I haven't. Last time I tasted it was in the fermenters last year.
All right, that was a project for this week.
Okay.
Go taste the Stone Valley 2019.
Well, Chuck, it seems a lot of people agree with you. People are definitely picking up a lot of floral notes on the nose, also agreeing with the wood spice and the black currant and cherries. A little bit of black truffle, which might be that kind of herbaceousness. I was kind of picking up on almost like black tea, like after you've brewed it, that kind of lingering scent.
I had some this morning.
Yeah. Can you compare this 18 to the 2017 vintage a little bit more?
Yeah, I think like the main thing that I mentioned was that the 17 is wound up tight, a little tighter, more Cabernet Sauvignon in it. I think has a lot of the same flavors, but to me, there's a little more dark fruit dominant in the 17, I think, where this has a little brighter towards in red fruit aspect. So to me, this is definitely more fruit forward. I think that 17 though, as time goes on, I think it's gonna, as it sellers, I think it's gonna open up, and every time I taste it, month to month, I'm always, I shouldn't say pleasantly surprised. I shouldn't say surprised at all. I'm really happy to see it opening up and becoming, every time I taste it, more and more what I envisioned it and what I expected out of the wine. So in the 2018, I think it's just a drinkable, hey, ready to go right now purchase. So, I mean, you can lay this down. I think it's a little softer in a lot of respects, a little softer wine. Again, it's got that more forward, brighter red fruit to it.
Perfect.
So,
wonderful.
But like I say, 17, I think is going to be perhaps a little better for cellaring or have a little bit more longevity to it.
Okay. And slightly unrelated, but since the BDX, the 2017 was cab dominant, can you kind of talk about that wine versus the 2017 cab that we did? Just like flavor wise.
Which cab?
The right, the Reininger cab, the Pepper Bridge Cabernet.
So what, just the flavor profile itself over it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Stretch my memory here. The 17 cab, I think the 17 cab definitely shows classic Cabernet Sauvignon. It has a tiny bit more herbaceousness, I think, and mineral aspects to it than I would say overall than the BDX. I think the 17 cab, again, as far as cellaring and stuff too, I would take that as more of what I would do. I would cellar that more, but I would, the cab itself, the fruit on it, to me is darker aspects of it.
Would you say it's because it is like 85% Cabernet, or?
Yeah, but I think I see more black currant and plum going on in there. The maceration too, I think it's kind of like bigger, drier fruits, if you will. A lot of dried fruit going on in there. So I think there's a real oh, I don't know, swarthies. I remember thinking of that term anyway, with that, just kind of dark, wonderful dark fruit out of that. So, um, but and I think there's also there's more oak on that too, if I recall. I remembered a lot more little oak spice on it, but it integrated very, very, very beautifully in that. So, and also I recollect a little bit of anise, a little bit of at times I can find just hints of licorice in that too. So,
Okay.
so yeah.
And going back to the BDX then, how long would you say this wine as well as the 2017, how long would you think they would age?
How long is a good question. I think the 17 is going to probably age a little bit longer than the 18. I would, but the, gosh, I don't know. I think they both could probably, I tell you what, that's such a, last week we cracked open a bottle of our 2017 Merlot. And I thought, a couple of years ago, I thought, okay, that's going to be,
The
that's
2017?
it. Did I say 2017? Our 1997. I cracked open a bottle of our 1997 Merlot. That was the very first Merlot that we produced, and opened that up last week. My recommendation is drink it, but it was so complex in changing so much in the glass, and it was, oh gosh, it was such a fun experience. What was fun about it too is it's also fun to share wine with people who will really appreciate it too. So the couple I was sharing it with, longtime old friends, they used to own metropolitan markets in Seattle, real big wine lovers. And so we were enjoying a night of dominoes. And I tell you, as the evening went on and drinking it, oh gosh, it was just so lovely. It was fun. And I was so glad. I wasn't sure if I had any left in my cellar, and I still have a few bottles left in my cellar, but it came up in conversation because he said that he always thought when he thinks of Merlot, he thinks that is his what do I want to say, bookmark or whatever, that his measuring post anyway. He said that wine is a wine that really turned him on to Washington Merlot, he said. And so but anyway, my whole point of that, talking about that wine, is just the ageability of it. So I would say that 17, I think you could easily get 10 years out of that BDX. I don't know if I would let it go that long. I think I might want to drink it before. But I think it will go longer than 10 years. But as far as really being able to taste the fruit and experience the fruit, I think up to 10 years. That is the one thing, like that 1997 Merlot, it's at the point where there's diminishing returns now on as far as the fruit just will keep dropping out of it. So it's definitely drink. I'm going to be drinking the rest of the bottles I have in the near future. This guy, I don't see it necessarily cellaring quite as long. 6, 7 more years of this, I think, will be really delightful on this guy. So, but I see this more of a drinking now and in the next, 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
And what was the difference between, was it a difference between the harvest or just the blend and the oak?
I think a lot of it is the blend itself. I think there's just more dark fruit in this in the 17, and which oftentimes means that there's more extract in the wine, and so it will just last a little bit longer in cellar, I think. So so yeah.
And can you also talk a little bit about, I guess, Bordeaux blends? I know you mentioned at the beginning, something you've always wanted to do because you started out Bordeaux centric. And you mentioned we briefly did the red table wine in the late 90s. But then there's also another wine that we've occasionally done twice. That's been a Bordeaux blend, and that's the Desiderata. Like looking back to the Desiderata and the red table wine, could you kind of talk about maybe how those two are very different from the BDX?
Yeah, well, the Desiderata is more of an inspiration of just trying to get all the Bordeaux sisters, if you will, together. So that was a real dream there. But the whole point of the Bordeaux blend here is making something more that you would see more left bank. We talked about that earlier. So and so that's kind of more the whole idea behind this. So, you know, a lot of those wines will be, you know, maybe 60% cab or 40, percent Cabernet Sauvignon. So that's the whole point, is trying to play around with that and try and make a more traditional Bordeaux inspired wine itself, where the Desiderata is just that was just a really cool dream when I started home winemaking, of just trying to get, I'd never seen a blend that I'd known about getting all 6 of those grapes together, and so it would be a great thing to do. But we had a big problem that back then we weren't growing any Carmenere here in the valley.
Right.
So it took a few years for that to happen, and it always takes, you know, the right vintages, you know, to make it worthwhile for the Desiderata. So it's something that we want to pay tribute to all of those grapes and the noble reds, but it's something that we want to do only in the perfect vintages when we know it's right.
And for those of you who've never had the Desiderata before, so we've done 2 of them. We did a 2003. So all the grapes were harvested that year. And then for our 20th anniversary back in 2017, we did a non-vintage blend that we also had. And the label is very symbolic, being the 20th anniversary. I remember it was platinum colored foiling on the label. I think we actually, Brad and I, are our tasting room manager, we recently found a case of the Desiderata 20 in our library. We thought that was completely gone.
Squirrels are pretty big around here.
They are.
They have pretty big nests.
That's a wine we thought we were pretty much sold out of completely, except for like one very large format. I think we have a 3-liter somewhere. But yeah, we have a case of that. And Chuck doesn't do it obviously every year. It's always a special time when he creates that wine.
Absolutely.
Well, before we talk about other fun projects that we might have and other virtual tastings, one of my favorite things to talk about is wine and food.
Oh, no.
So this one, I mean, to me, and maybe it's just because like unfortunately, doctor's orders have to be off red meat for a couple weeks. I'm craving a burger with blue cheese in this wine, or even beef stew. I'm just like, my mind's just going to red meats. What about you?
Oh man, gosh, yeah. Well, gosh, I just think of the huge steaks that Charlie and some friends brought over the other night, man, that we had. But yeah, no, it's with this guy, with the cherries and stuff, you know, going on in there. Man, I also see some, you know, really nice flank steak with this too, you know. But you have to be careful not to have too much spice, you know, in the marinade. I don't know. I've always been somebody who really loved flank steak, but I also had it with some really beautiful. I'm trying to remember the name of the blue cheese that we had with it. It was a French blue cheese, and it was really nice with this too. So
Was it just like a blue aubergine or?
No, I'm trying to. I don't remember. It was a little more. It was creamier than most,
Okay, I like
so
it.
it wasn't really super, intense.
Mm-hmm.
But it just had the really nice.
Is it like the?
Seam. So it wasn't. Sometimes that blue cheese can get kind of sharp. In a sense.
Yeah.
Not the traditional sense of sharp, but it just has kind of a sharpness to it, and so this just had a real creamy aspect to it, and. Gosh, I just thought that was really nice with this.
It looks like we have a couple people who are agreeing with flank steak tonight. And as someone who has their steak blue rare, it looks like someone had a rare prime rib cap tonight with it.
Awesome. Man, whoever it is, person after my own heart, man. Blue rare as can be.
And definitely portobello mushrooms. For obviously the vegetarian side of things, that is a super meaty vegetable.
Absolutely.
Just grilling some of that in the, or even roasting it, to be honest. Ooh, yum.
Yeah, gosh, you're never going to go wrong with portobello and Bordeaux. Yeah. Never.
So I guess a question you brought up earlier that this, the BDX was filling a gap. And that's why we created it. Would you say there are other gaps that you might eventually want to fill? Maybe doing a true GSM rather than our GMC or the SORO, as most people know it as.
Well, actually, there are a lot more than you think. There are a lot of Grenache, Mourvedre, and So blends in Rhone. But no, I don't know. Who knows? We'll just, right now, where else would I like to go? Riesling. Riesling is someplace.
Back to where Washington started.
Yeah. And with a name like Reininger, you'd think we would have a Riesling. So Riesling is someplace that is where I'd like to go. So that'd be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to do that.
Okay, fun. Someone just asked if we might have any more 2017 BDX. I did bring up right at the beginning that we just moved over to pouring the 2018 in our tasting room here in Walla Walla. There is a potential Spokane might have some of the 2017, but please don't quote me on that. They just sometimes are a couple weeks behind us when we sell out of things here. But as Chuck mentioned, it is a distributor wine. So the 2017 is still on store shelves all over the Pacific Northwest. So that is a wine that you would be able to find in places like Met Market or New Seasons. There's really the only two I can think of off the top of my head, but I know we have lots of wine shops all over Washington, Oregon, and Idaho that will be carrying this wine.
Yeah. But they're sold out of it at Tiger Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's what's left is in the distributor's pipeline, and so yeah.
Okay, well, it looks like there's no more outstanding questions, just people drinking some amazing old wine like the 2012 Merlot. And
I see a 2009 Chima. Oh my gosh.
So I hope everybody continues drinking those bottles you opened tonight and enjoy them.
Wow. You guys, thank you so much for, just indulging in those things. It just brings back a lot of memories, and it's always fun. So